right, thank you, LEG. And our next speaker is Josh D. from Forest.
Yeah.
All right.
I gotta stand up because I'm a very animated individual. So, man, listen, I'm an addict named Josh, and I'm grateful for the only promise of Narcotics Anonymous, which is the freedom from active addiction, man. Just know that I was prayed in multiple times before I came to try to share, right? Because Josh has got such a big ego that, like, I'm going to tell you what I think you want to hear. So, like, I had to get Josh out of the out of the equation so we could get to a solution, right? Because, like, I want to deliver a crystal clear message of Narcotics Anonymous. And if Josh is in the way and I don't allow God, as I understand him, to use me as a vessel, you will not hear from him. You will hear from Josh, which used to be a friggin' purse snatching, chain yanking junkie, right? But, like, that's not me today because I allow God, as I understand him, to come in and work in my life, man. And if you're new, man, welcome. You're the most important person at this meeting and any Narcotics Anonymous meeting. And I don't know a lot of people here, but, like, if you got less than 6 months, can you please raise your hand? Right? So, like, if you got more than 6 months, please raise your hand and keep your hands up. Everybody with less than 6 months, look at the hands up right now. Okay? These are the people that should guide you. Right? Because our literature says that our only hope is to live by the power of example, right, of others who have faced our dilemma and have found a way out. So everybody that had their hands up are facing this dilemma and they're finding a way out because they're still clean, right? So, like, they gave me suggestions in Narcotics Anonymous. The suggestions that I'm going to give you are from What Can I Do chapter. It's go to a meeting a day for 90 days, get phone numbers, find a home group, get a sponsor, and most importantly, we don't use. And I found in my recovery that if I follow the first 4 suggestions, the 5th one happens to take care of itself on a daily basis. So, like, I have to put that out right? So my disclaimer and my clarity statement, because Josh comes with a clarity statement. I'm loud, right? I am not angry, okay? I'm not angry, man. I'm just being honest. Well, I am passionate to the program that saved my life, man. Passionate for this program, man. Right? Listen, from desperation to passion. From a desperate junkie to a recovering passionate addict, man. And I'm so grateful for that, right? So, like, if I offend anybody, I really do apologize, man. The 12-step talks about how we all vary in ways to carry our message. And as long as we tell our truth, right? Like, we're doing the right thing, right? My primary purpose is to stay clean and carry the message to the still sick and suffering addict, man. And that's what I'm doing here, man. And, like, I want to thank the committee, man, right? To seeing something in me that maybe I didn't see in myself, right? And, like, I'm grateful for that, man. So, and it was cool because, like, I was originally supposed to share at 2 o'clock on In the Beginnings, right? And, like, they switched it up at the last minute. Right, to share on literature. You're going to hear a lot of literature out of me, man. Because, like, the literature is black and white, man. So, like, if I had a problem when I first got clean of people bringing their books up and quoting literature, right, it wasn't until I brought literature to life that the literature put life back into me, man. And that's why I focus on the literature, man. It doesn't lie to me. So, like, why am I here, right? Really, I was supposed to be on 2 o'clock In the Beginnings. So I don't know why I'm here. I'm here because Gail asked me to speak, man, at 6 o'clock. Change it up. And I don't say to no Narcotics Anonymous because Narcotics Anonymous has never said no to me, man. Right? And it never has, man. So grateful. I qualify here, right, that my clean date is 6/30/20. I have a Narcotics Anonymous sponsor. I work the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous. I apply the 12 traditions of Narcotics Anonymous, and I study the 12 concepts of Narcotics Anonymous. And I sponsor men and bring them through Narcotics Anonymous steps, man. I have a home group, Boys and Men Forest Area Narcotics Anonymous, man. Like, that alone qualifies me up here to give a message. Like, right away, I want to be like, man, you shouldn't be up here, man. You only got 2 years clean. Like, don't say that. That's my disease talking. Nobody minimize their clean time in here, man. You got 1 day, you are a miracle. Any clean addict is a miracle, man. The literature says it, man. So I'm going to here to speak on why are we here, right? I love speaking on literature, right? And it wasn't my choice to speak on this, right? However, like, not all messengers get to decide how the mail gets delivered, right? Listen, it might come through the post office, it might come through UPS, it might come through FedEx. The bottom line, as long as somebody gets the message, I did my job, right? So why are we here, man? Before coming to the fellowship of NA, we cannot manage our own lives, man. I'm going to break it down sentence by sentence real quick, right? Listen, could not manage my own life. Before I got here, I couldn't manage my own life. You guys manage my life for me on a daily basis, man, right? The second tradition says that we are all mismanagers, right? None of us are capable of consistently making good decisions, right? So I never made good decisions in my life, man. Before I got here, my life was mismanageable, unmanageable, bro. Like, I was powerless over my addiction. The second part is step 1, man. And my life would become unmanageable. Why? We could not live and enjoy life as other people do, man. Why couldn't I live and enjoy life as other people do? That's the ultimate question for me in this reading, right? We had to have something different, and we thought we had found it in drugs, man. I don't know about you, but like the whole time, I thought drugs was the problem, right? Actually, before I got here, I didn't think I had a drug problem. I thought I had a money problem. If I had enough money, right, I'd have enough drugs. But like drugs was the hook, the bait on the hook that keeps me here in Narcotics Anonymous. The literature talks about the ultimate problem being me, right? The ultimate problem is ourselves. But what is our Narcotics Anonymous program says that NA is a nonprofit fellowship or society of men and women for whom drugs had become a major problem. That word "had" is important because I'll get back to that in a second. But I thought that like I had a drug problem. Really, drugs were my solution to the problem at hand, which was me the whole time, man. Right? And like, I didn't think that I could enjoy life without drugs, man. That just for today, reading is good for me, right? Just for today, my thoughts would be on my recovery, living and enjoying life without the use of drugs, man. That's why I feel that's chapter 9. It's in the back of the book, man. Right? And because once I put the drugs down, I started to enjoy life. Man, I got friends in this program, right, that we have fun nonstop, man. Nothing but laughs. What a gift. What a gift. Nothing but laughs, man. But I'm not capable of doing that if I pick up. I'm not capable to do that once I don't have any kind of clarity anymore, man. And listen, I used to do anything for the next one. Anything, right? It says we place the use ahead of the welfare of our families, our wives, husbands, and our children. Listen, I would do anything to get the next one, right? I would literally walk over my mother's grave to get the next one. I literally used in the bathroom when I was supposed to go do a eulogy for my father, my stepfather, right? I do anything for the next one. I did unsavory things, man, right? I placed it ahead of my daughter, man. I placed it ahead of everything, right? The next line is, we caused many people great harm, man. I just told you I caused all those people harm. But hold on, here's the catch. Most of all, I harmed me. Most of all, we harmed ourselves, right? So not only did I harm you, but by harming my mother, I was actually harming me at the same time, man. Right? The biggest part of my step 9 is to make amends to me. A living amends, man. Like I travel a lot. People say I fly by the wind. I mean, so I enjoy life. Now, I couldn't get out of the bathroom, right, before I got clean, man. Listen, I remember being in the closet wanting to commit suicide and not having the courage to do it, man. So today, I enjoy life, man. Like, that's part of because I caused myself a lot of harm, and that's part of my 9th step, man. Living that amends, right? This is a good line, right? She touched on it. Through our inability to accept personal responsibilities, we were actually creating our own problems, man. Listen, even in clean, I got an inability to accept personal responsibilities, bro. Like, but when I was using, man, like, I wasn't there for my daughter till she was sick. Like, my daughter's a tricky subject, a touchy subject for me to talk about. I haven't seen her in 6.5 years. But I haven't seen her in 6.5 years because my inability to accept the personal responsibility of being a father while she was born, right, and only caring about the next one, I created the problem that I'm in right now, right? And it's crazy, man. It's crazy. However, I got to realize, right, that my past might define me. However, I don't allow it to imprison me today. right? I don't allow my past to imprison me today, man, right? But like even in recovery, man, without wanting to pay, I want to wait till the last day to pay a speeding ticket, right? I want to procrastinate, and then I'll pay it at the last minute, man. Like if I miss it, like because I was not being responsible, I'm not going to have a license. And I still do it in recovery, man. So like we seem to be incapable of facing life on its own terms, man. So I don't know about you, man. I don't know how to cope, right? And I realized before the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous and before recovery and all that stuff, I would throw drugs on it to numb the pain, to numb everything, man. Like pain is such like a motivator and driven by fear and pain, man, right? And I always used one to the next one. I told you drugs wasn't the problem. They were the solution to my pain, to my fear, all those things, man. Now I got the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous, man. I turned pain into poise, right? I turned pain into passion, right? I turned pain into patience. Pain into perseverance. Most importantly, pain into progress, man. Right? Because this is an ongoing journey for me, man. And most of us realized in our addiction we were slowly committing suicide. But to use this to die often in more ways than one. The literature backs it up. Right? And I just told you I was in the closet wanting to kill myself with a bag of pills and not having the courage to take the pills, man. Slowly committing suicide, man. Right? I always say this, bro. I heard people say this a lot. My disease wants me dead, but will end up with me miserable. Will happen for me. No, man. My disease wants me miserable at all times, and will settle for me dead. Right? I don't believe my disease wants me dead. I believe my disease wants me to slowly die, slowly committing suicide. Because it's cunning. The next line, man. But addiction is such a cunning enemy of life that we have lost the power to do anything about it, man. Listen, cunning to me means tricky. Cunning to me means conniving. Cunning to me means manipulation, man. The fact that my disease wanted me to think that I was a drug dealer when I was really a junkie. Right? The fact that my disease wanted me to think that I was a pimp when I was really a trick. Right? The fact that my disease wanted me to think that I was a hunter when I was really the prey. Right? The fact that my disease wanted me to think my whole life that I was a winner, when in realistic actuality, I was a loser. Right? So use this to lose, man. Right? But my disease is tricky, man. It will manipulate me. It will get in there, right? One of the older members says my disease will attack me where it was successful last, man. Right? And it does that. It does that constantly, man. Right? And then this is the next good line too, man. Many of us ended up in jail or sought help through medicine, religion, and psychiatry. Listen, I ended up in jail. We had the other reading. We all know the ends, right? Jails, institutions, and death, right? I ended up in jail, institutions. I was pronounced dead. I didn't breathe. That didn't stop me from waking up and going to the same bag. Right? Didn't stop me, man. Right? That jails, institutions, and death. There's those other D's, the 3 D's that nobody likes to talk about. Right? That degradation, that demoralization, that dereliction. Right? The fact that I sold my body for drugs. Right? The fact that I robbed my mother when rent was due. The fact that I abandoned my daughter over and over again. Like all those things nobody really wants to talk about. Right? But I'll talk about it because it frees me today, man. Right? And I'm grateful for that. I'm really grateful for that, right? Like the next line is too, right? Like religion, medicine, religion, and psychiatry. None of these methods, she hit on it, were sufficient for us. Sufficient means not enough. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. It can't work with the program of Narcotics Anonymous. Right? I know for me, like they had me on psych meds before I got clean. Right? I'm a recovering Jew from New York. Right? and I've spent a lot of hours on a couch. Listen, none of that stuff worked for me, man. It wasn't sufficient for me. Right? For me. Right? And look, it just says sufficient. That doesn't mean it can't work in Narcotics Anonymous, man. That doesn't mean we can't talk about taking psych meds, man. It's not my story, but if it's yours, talk about it, man. Listen, the literature says that anything that affects our personal recovery is not an outside issue, bro. So, like, if that's what works for you, share about it, man. Just don't endorse it. Right? There's a big difference, man. So that stuff didn't work for me, man. I tried all that stuff, man. Right? And now I'm in the process of I mean, like I said, I don't take anything like that. But like, if I find it necessary, right, I'll go to the people that have dealt with it, and then I'll go to a doctor and I'll do it, right? I'm working through the 11th step, right? I'm going to start going to a source of some kind of program, right, to guide me closer. My sponsor says Narcotics Anonymous is like the 1-800 number to God, right? Operator, yo, you hear? Narcotics Anonymous is the operator to God for me, right? And I have to navigate that avenue. I have to try it out, man. Listen, we all know, man, open-mindedness is an indispensable principle. So once I become closed-minded, I'm not even in recovery. Recovery is an active change of ideas and attitudes, right? So I don't know, man. What I do know is that if it comes to it and I have to turn that way, I'll try it out, man. As long as I don't pick up, man. It's simple for me, man. Our disease always resurfaces or continue to progress in desperation we sought help from each other in Narcotics Anonymous. Narcotics Anonymous saved my life. The traditions say that this is a spiritual fellowship that has the power to change lives. I was on a one-way trip to hell, or whatever, dead, a casket, and Narcotics Anonymous came in, right? Hospitals and institutions saved my life, right, by carrying the message of Narcotics Anonymous. Is that an addict? Any addict? Anybody in here? We don't discriminate, right? I heard people say from Park Place to the park bench, right? I say from the trap house to the penthouse. We don't matter. We do not discriminate. Any addict, man, can stop using drugs, lose the desire to use, and find a new way to live, man. When they came in, when hospitals and institutions came in and shared that life-saving message, I didn't know what to do. I didn't, listen, this happened without my permission, man. I didn't want to get clean. I didn't expect to get clean. It just kind of happened, man. God prepared me and put people in the position that they are in that helped me in my life today and will continue to help me tomorrow, man. Right? And that's only, listen, that's why I give a shout out to hospitals and institutions every time I share, man. It was important for me. It's a part of my recovery. Because, like, I can't do it alone, right? We must smash the illusion that we can do this alone. Right? Because, you know, if I don't, recovery and relapse says that unless the illusions that we can continue to use or stop using on our own are shattered, we most certainly sign our own death warrant. That means I don't need you to kill me, bro. I don't need you to hang me up. The disease has got the rope in my pocket right now, waiting to come in and waiting to attack me, man. Right? After coming to NA, we realized we were sick people. Well, why did I realize I was a sick person after coming here? I realized it because I've been diagnosed. I got a disease, man. I put the drugs down. I got some real issues going on. My buddy Raymond says, my issues got issues. Right? And it's true, man. Right? Things come up, man. Now that I put the drugs down, I see how really sick I am sometimes, man. Right? Only after coming to NA. Right? After coming to NA, I realized we suffer from a disease from which there is no known cure. There's no known cure to this, man. That means I got to do this every day, man. Listen, if I had cancer or if I had another disease, right, that I needed to take medicine every day, I would take it, man. That's why I'm diligent in my recovery. That's why I do something for my recovery every day, man. Because there is no known cure, man. There's no known cure, right? And then it says, however, which means it's a rebuttal. However means, hold on, stop. There's news, like this is a rebuttal. However, it can be arrested at some point and recovery is then possible, man. Right. So listen, if I stop using drugs, recovery is possible, right? The Inward Sound Wise says our only hope for recovery is a profound emotional and spiritual change, right? And once I put drugs in my system, I lose my clarity, right? Listen, I've been locked up before. I've been arrested. I've also been bonded out, right? So I know if I use, I bond my disease out of jail, right? I know there is no hope, man. There is no hope. So, like, that's a really important reading for me, man. And I really love that, man. There's a whole chapter in here that I could speak about, right? There's really the most important keys, right? There's one, we are powerless over addiction, and our lives are unmanageable. There's 3 points in this chapter, man. Right? We discussed it, how my life was unmanageable. I'm powerless over my addiction. Listen, the literature says that some of us believe that our disease was present long before we started using. Right? That means Like my first addiction, I like to say all the time, was attention. Right? I would be mommy, 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 cry. Everything was about Josh, man. Little kid. My next addiction went into candy. I'm the addict that stole from his mother's pocketbook to go to Cheap John's, not an endorsement, and go buy, go buy a bunch of candy, man, to give it to everybody around, man. Right? I'm the addict that was addicted to video games at age 9, right? That would play Mortal Kombat till friggin' 6 in the morning when I know I had to go to school at 6:30. Made my life unmanageable. Without drugs, man. Right? I'm the addict that would go out and ride a bike way past lights out, bro. Like way past the... I'm the addict that take anything to the extreme, man. Right? So the next one is, although we are not responsible for our disease, we are responsible for our recovery. So there is no more excuses, man. I know that I have a disease. And with a disease, I know I have to do some things, right? And when I first got clean, and like the literature talks about us, we can use the literature as weapons, as a weapon. So like when I first got clean, me and my best friend would be like, yeah, we're sick, right? We're sick, but like we got a disease, so we're sick. No, bro. It's not all right, the things that I used to do, man. Right? It's not all right. Right? It's not all right that I used to womanize, right? That is not okay with me today, man. Staying clean is not enough for me today. It's not enough, man. I have to take responsibilities for my actions, man. The next one, we can see, there it is. I didn't even know. It ties right into the next one. We can no longer blame people, places, and things for our addiction. We must face our problems and our feelings, man. Because I got to face this stuff, man. Right? Like, this is a program that we ease the pain of living through spiritual principles, man. And I can't get the spiritual principles if I haven't worked the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, man. Listen, the steps are a solution. They are a survival kit, man. They're also our best guarantee against relapse, man. I could go on and on about what it says about the steps in here, right? I do know that meeting makers make it, right? However, I also know that if you just make meetings, you might not make it. Right? I've seen people come to meetings for a year and go back out, man, and we bury them. Right? Why would I be in a 12-step program and not work the 12 steps, man? Narcotics Anonymous is a dangerous spectator sport. Dangerous, man. So, like, when I hear I did some work, man, I got in the middle of that boat, man. Right? She threw me in the middle of the boat. I didn't even ask for it. I was in the middle of the boat, man, and I'm still in the middle of the boat today, man. Right? Because I've seen people on the edge of the boat. The boat rocks, man. The boat rocks, man, and people fall over. I got evidence in my life that I cannot swim. Right? I know that, right? And I'm not willing to risk it if Narcotics Anonymous is going to get the lifesaver out in time, man. I'm not willing to risk that, man. I know today that I have to do something for my recovery every day on a daily basis, man. Right? What I do today will not eat me clean tomorrow, man. I do what I do today because I don't want what I used to have before Narcotics Anonymous. It's really that simple for me, man. So why are we here? Even the topic changes over time. I first got here to stay clean. Now I'm here to help other people stay clean too, man. Right? I say this all the time, man. I'm surrounding myself with 3 types of people in my life. People that feed me, people that I eat with, and people that I feed. Right? And that happens regardless of clean time. That happens with experience, strength, and hope. Right? And I need those type of people in my life. 5 minutes? All right, man, listen. I gotta quote this line real quick. Hold on. Page 79. Right? Recovering relapse. Man, this is the boldest statement that I found in the literature, man. If you ain't heard anything from me, man, get a basic text, man. Give yourself a break. Break out to page 79. First paragraph, last sentence. We have never seen a person who lived in Narcotics Anonymous program relapse. That's a guarantee. We have never. Never is such an important word, man. Don't say regularly, sometimes, rarely, occasionally. It says never. You can't define never as any other way as that it doesn't happen. It's an ultimate end. Mm-hmm. We have never seen a person who lives in Narcotics Anonymous program relapse. This fellowship has been around since 1953. Yep. And they ain't never seen nobody that lives a program relapse, man. So I'm going to end with a story. serious, man. I'm with a story. So, there was a village in Africa, right? This village in Africa was ridden by an earthquake, right? And because of that, only a colony of mice lived there. By this village, there was a lake. And the lake was utilized by a herd of elephants. All right? And this herd of elephants would have to go through the village every day to get to the lake. Now, as time goes on, they see this pattern that more and more mice end up being trampled and showing up dead. Right? So the leader of the mice goes to the leader of the elephants and says, "Excuse me, sir, but can I ask you a favor? Can you now guide your herd of elephants around my village to get the water? And if you do that, I will repay you a favor." The elephant looks down at this little mouse, the size of his toenail. Looks down at the mouse, looks at him all confused, stops for a second, gives this big laugh. Ha 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 ha, like big belly laugh from an elephant. Looks down and he says, "I'm sorry, friend, but look how small you are, and look how big I am. How could you ever repay me a favor?" And the mouse looks back at the elephant and goes, "Time will tell, good sir." So something hit that elephant's spirit, and he decided to start guiding his herd around the village to the lake. 6 months go by, and now the king of the jungle, the lion, goes to the leader of the mice and says, "Have you seen the elephants lately? The hunter has been around and spotted, and I'm worried that the elephants have been captured." So the leader of the mice goes to his colony and says, "Hey man," rounds up the troops and goes out and looks for the elephants. Right? They find the elephants captured and bound by ropes. So the mice go right to work and start gnawing the rope with their sharp teeth. Right? And freeing each elephant one by one until they freed the leader. The leader gets freed and turns to the whole colony of the mice now and goes, "Thank you, friends. We are forever in your debt." The moral of the story here, right? Catch on. The moral of the story is it doesn't matter how big or how small you are, right? It doesn't matter how significant or insignificant you think you are, right? It doesn't matter how much clean time you have or how much literature you know. It doesn't matter if you're up here sharing or if you're back there listening. It doesn't matter here, especially in Narcotics Anonymous. We are all equal, man. All equal, right? I find today it's the little things that I do today, man. It's the little things that I do. It's the holding that person an extra 10 seconds in the hug because I know they're going through something. It's checking up on a friend when they ain't been picking up their phone, man, right? It's greeting the newcomer by name, showing that I remembered his name, right? Listen, it's great to be up here on the stage, man, right? It's great to be up here, man, right? But the real magic happens behind the curtains, bro. The real magic behind the scenes, man. So all in all, right, it's my responsibility to help another human being out, an addict, a non-addict, anybody, right? In all actuality, it's to put somebody's needs before my self-centered wants. Put somebody else's needs now, before my self-centered wants. And not family is why I am here. So thanks for letting me share.
All right.